Things at Chelsea are a little bit tense right now. Although the winds are starting to come back in, there's all of this stuff going on in the press with Maresca, and the January window is right around the corner. Reporters and journalists are not expecting Chelsea to go big in the January transfer window, but it looks like Bluco and Maresca are already thinking big for Project 2026 in next summer's transfer window. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And today, we're going to be talking about some future transfers. Now, maybe some small stuff happens in January. I personally am very, very much hoping that Thiago Silva comes back to the club. I think that would be a serious tonic for our defence. It would be good for the fans. It'd be good for the club in general. And he's just an absolute geezer. But ultimately, the rumours and the news that are flying around at the moment do not pertain to the January transfer window. They pertain to the next summer transfer window and what we can hope to see our first proper title challenge since 2017. But guys, before we get into it, if you are enjoying the content and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. So let's get into it, man. We've got 4 targets to talk about today, and we're going to start with the defence. So Maresca in particular, so this is one that apparently Maresca would be really interested in, and it makes sense when you look at the profile. Alessandro Bastoni of Inter Milan. Enzo Maresca apparently absolutely loves Bastoni and would be really, really keen to get him into the defence for next season. As of right now, Trevor Chalobah and Wesley Fofana are doing a really good job, racking up lots and lots of clean sheets and essentially being the best centre-back partnership we've had all season, with Maresca trying 8 different, maybe 9 different centre-back partnerships now at this point in the early half of the season. Levi Colwill is expected back in April after a season-ending ACL injury, but ultimately, even if he does get some game time throughout the rest of the season, you can imagine it's going to be cursory minutes. Look at how we treated Reece James, Cole Palmer, Romeo Lavia, and that's still not going particularly well, and we're going to get onto that a little bit more later. But with Levi Colwill ultimately posing a massive question mark, we can't exactly guarantee that he's just going to get back into the squad. The rest of our squad depth comprises of Benoit Badiashile, Tosin Adarabioyo, young Josh Achiampong, and kind of, sort of, but not really, Axel Disasi, who is currently sidelined from the team and in the dreaded bomb squad. So although Chalobah and Wesley Fofana are doing a good job at the moment and racking up a good amount of clean sheets between them, ultimately there is feeling from Maresca and from the fans, to be completely honest, that our centre-back depth is not exactly title challenge worthy. So in that sense, it does make sense that Enzo Maresca would be interested in signing the 2-time Serie A champion Alessandro Bastoni for the squad next year. But the obvious question begs to be asked: how old is Alessandro Bastoni? Does he fit the profile? Does he fit the model? The answer to that question, unfortunately, is no. Alessandro Bastoni is 26 years old. So in order to go out for essentially a player getting into his prime, who's got experience and titles under his belt, we're going to have to get away from the Bluco model. So I really like Bastoni, and the only reason I'd ever written him off before was because he obviously just wasn't going to fit the model. But at the end of the day, he's a fantastic centre-back, and if we are going to go in for a title challenge next season, someone with that amount of winning experience, albeit in a different league, can only be a good thing for the squad. So that is the centre-back stuff out of the way, but let's get into the midfield, right? The midfield. So this is something that has been a bit of a problem all season, man. It's been a bit of a problem all season. We have got 2 of the best midfielders in the Premier League, as far as I'm concerned. They are up there. Moises Caicedo, maybe he's not been amazing recently. Obviously, he's had a little spell out, and more recently is now also banned for our first leg against either Arsenal or Crystal Palace in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup because of picking up too many yellow cards. But him and Enzo Fernandez have been mainstays in the team this season. Now, that in itself is fine. They're absolutely brilliant starters, but the problem that we've had ultimately is our depth and rotation options. Romeo Lavia was bought for £60 million at the same time that we got Moises Caicedo, but has barely featured in the team, even though they've been in the squad for the same amount of time. He has just picked up injury after injury after injury, and even when we're very cautious with him, we're very careful with him, he comes back from injury, he plays a little bit every single time. He's not managed to make more than 2 games in a row without having a reoccurrence of his injury and being sidelined again for further months. He's just just spent his entire career at Chelsea so far on the treatment table, and unfortunately it's just not working out. That's nothing negative about Romeo Lavia as a player, because personally I think he's an absolutely fantastic player. He's an amazing passer. He offers us something really different, and had he have been fit this season, we'd have had a stronger team, because he's a different profile and ultimately adds solid squad rotation. Alongside Romeo Lavia, we picked up Dario Asugo. We got Dario Asugo at the same time that we bought Giovanni Quenda. Price of about 20 million euros, I think we got him for. Ultimately, he played a little bit in the Club World Cup. He might have featured once. I'll need to go and check that back. But ultimately, as early as the first international break this season, he picked up a devastating injury, instantly had to have surgery, and has been written off ever since. That leaves us with just Andre Santos, and I really like Andre Santos. I've got a feeling that Maresca doesn't fancy him so much, because I just feel like he would have gotten more game time otherwise. But ultimately, even if he was, really, really favoured by the manager, him himself is not enough squad rotation for the midfield in a 60 to 65 game season, which is what we're going to be looking at for the persistent future. So that brings us to the targets, right? The targets, obviously, they were in the thumbnail. Chelsea are interested in one of, and I think one of, two would be crazy because that would be a lot of moolah, but one of Elliot Anderson of Nottingham Forest, CB Mainoo of Manchester United, and Adam Wharton of Crystal Palace. All three fantastic young Premier League midfielders. CB Mainoo in particular has been in the headlines recently, and not even just recently. It's been a bit of a debate, especially amongst Man United fans all season. He is not fancied by current manager Ruben Amorim at all, despite them not playing particularly well, and they're definitely having a better season this season than they did last season, 100%. But CB Mainoo is just really, really struggling to get in the team, and it does just look like that Ruben Amorim doesn't really fancy him. Now, it's been kind of interesting, because initially the rumblings before the last week at least were CB Mainoo wants to go on a loan because he loves Manchester United and he wants to stay at the club. But a recent outing from his brother wearing a free CB Mainoo t-shirt at a Man United game maybe says that things are starting to get a little bit out of hand. CB Mainoo is a fantastic young midfielder, and the interesting thing about the way that this is all going is ultimately these kind of things, and CB Mainoo showing that he desperately wants to get out, and Man United showing that they don't actually value him that much, doesn't really allow Man United to smack a massive price on him. We picked up Alejandro Garnacho for 40 mil, right? And at the end of the day, he's starting to look like he's coming good on that. CB Mainoo probably could be in and around the same price, bearing in mind he's very young. He's an academy product, which means that's all book profit for Man United, which they would probably not turn their nose up at. And like I say, the fact that there is this kind of Ruben Amorim doesn't want him, and he kind of, free CB Mainoo, all of this stuff, this is ultimately just going to bring his value down. CB Mainoo as a midfielder tactically is kind of somewhere in between Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. He's not a proper number 6, he's not a proper number 8, but ultimately so is Romeo Lavia. Andre Santos kind of fits that mould as well. CB Mainoo is a versatile midfielder who has also on the occasion played in that half space behind the number 10, and he scored a couple of really good goals from there as well. He's got attacking impetus, he's a good midfielder, he's young, interesting idea, not exactly my first choice of the ones we're going to get here, but you would have to think, based on the current situation he's going through, would probably be the cheapest. Next up, we've got Elliot Anderson, who I have a feeling could turn out to be pretty expensive, but ultimately having a really, really good time at Nottingham Forest, and even being called up for the England squad. He's a mainstay in the Forest team at the moment, absolute baller, doing really, really well, still a young midfielder, fits the profile as well. Again, not a million miles away from CB Mainoo, somewhere between a number 6 and a number 8. But the truth of the fact is, with Elliot Anderson in particular, if a deal isn't wrapped up before the World Cup and he gets minutes there and plays well, we've all seen what happens with players that perform well vis-a-vis Enzo Fernandez, right? All of a sudden, what, could be 60, 70 mil at the moment, could rocket up to 100 for Nottingham Forest because his stock could be really, really high. And that brings us to Adam Wharton, right? Adam Wharton from Crystal Palace, I think out of all of these three midfielders is the one that there is going to be the biggest tug of war for. I think Adam Wharton gets into almost any team in the Premier League at the moment. I could see Pep being interested in him for City. I could see Manchester United being interested in him. You can see Tottenham being interested in him. You can see Arsenal potentially being interested in him as a backup for Declan Rice. Adam Wharton is an absolute solid player and has been arguably Crystal Palace's best player this season. If you don't count goals and stuff, obviously Mateta's been doing really well. But ultimately, Adam Wharton, really, really good player, and he's going to cost a bomb, man, 100%. So the issue with Elliot Anderson and Adam Wharton in particular is, do I think they're fantastic? Yes, absolutely. If I had to choose any of these three, I would say Adam Wharton, just based on how good he is. But the truth of the fact is, Chelsea have issues with UEFA. We're going to have to sell to buy, all this, that and the other. Do you know what I mean? And Adam Wharton is going to be really, really expensive. Elliot Anderson's going to be really, really, really expensive. So I could see us deferring to CB Mainoo just based on the price alone. But hopefully by that point, Enzo Maresca has won himself at least one extra trophy and got us into the Champions League, and maybe has a bit more credit in the bank to push for the things that he wants this summer. And if that is Adam Wharton and Alessandro Bastoni, that would represent good business for Chelsea in the summer and hopefully help us drive on towards a title finish. And you've also got to think we've already got other reinforcements coming in next season in the form of Emmanuel Omega, who is having a great time at Strasbourg, 7 goals in 11 games, and also Giovanni Quenda, who unfortunately is injured for 2 months as of right now, but very interestingly has decided to spend that 2 months getting to know the club. He's flown over to London, he's at Chelsea, and he wants to get to know the staff, the coach, the players, and kind of figure out what he's going to be doing next season, right? He's also having a fantastic season, by the way. For an 18-year-old in the Portuguese league, he's already got 5 goals and 6 assists, which is great numbers and higher than the majority of our attacking players in our squad at the moment. So that's it, guys. That is the list. I'd really, really, really like to know what you think about all of these players. I've got a feeling the Alessandro Bastoni thing might be a bridge too far for the model. He's obviously going to be really, really expensive, and with him being that little bit older already, I'm not 100% sure the Blue Co will look at that. And, you know, for instance, there are other targets out there, the likes of Mario from Nottingham Forest, Castello Lukaba from Red Bull Leipzig as well, who fit the profile and the model a little bit more. And what's going to be really interesting this summer in particular is seeing if Blue Co are willing to go outside of their model in order to properly go for a trophy and a title challenge and show that they are backing Maresca in the transfer market. At the end of the day, that isn't necessarily what Enzo Maresca signed up for. When he joined Chelsea, he will have known you have a team of 5, now 6 sporting directors that are going to make signings and choose the team for you, and you will coach the team. So it would represent a change in the dynamic from the contract that he signed at the end of the day. So does Maresca deserve that? Like, if he keeps on doing as well as he is and he gets us in comfortably in the Champions League spots, has a good run in the Champions League this year and wins us at least one domestic trophy, you would have to argue 3 trophies in 2 years, 2 Champions League finishes in his 2 seasons when we'd been out of it for a little while. Yes, you would think that obviously would be a thing to do, back your manager so we can go for the league, but at the same time, the difficult thing about it is that is not what he signed up for. So like I said, it would represent a change in the dynamic that he initially set when he joined Chelsea in the first place. So guys, as well as him, let me know what you think about Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, CB Mainoo. Let's talk about it in the comments. Like I say, for me, it's a case of if I just got to choose one of those midfielders and the money wasn't an issue and there was no problems or whatever, I'd say Adam Wharton, right? Adam Wharton is just an absolutely phenomenal player. I think we need more so that backup for Moises Caicedo than we do for Enzo Fernandez, because Andre Santos is doing a really good job. Malagusto does seem to be getting more time in midfield, and Reece James can obviously play there as well. So I think Adam Wharton would represent a solid foundation for our squad to build off. But I do understand also that the money is going to be really different with Adam Wharton and Elliot Anderson as it is to CB Mainoo, purely based on the situation. CB Mainoo carries on going on the way he is at the moment, his value is going to drop, man, and we could end up in a situation like we were with Garnacho, where Garnacho was sat in the changing room saying, you either sell me to Chelsea or I'm going to sit here on the bench for the next season because I'm not going anywhere else. Now, at the end of the day, the difference, I guess, between Garnacho and CB Mainoo is CB Mainoo, although I'm sure Alejandro Garnacho did love Man United at one point, we have heard some news this year about CB Mainoo saying, I love Man United and I just want to go out on loan so I can get some minutes and prove myself to the manager that I am worth putting in the team. So that could change things a little bit. We're not going to loan CB Mainoo. I absolutely hope we don't. I know we loan Facundo Buonanotte, but we shouldn't be loaning CB Mainoo. But either way, let me know what you think about all 4 of these targets: Bastoni, Wharton, Mainoo, and Anderson in the comments. Nice one, guys. Thank you very much for sticking around until the end of the video. If you did, I hope you're all having an absolutely wicked day, and I'll catch up with you very, very soon. Take it easy. Peace.